All right, so rare friends, we are back to get you ready for game week 27. Before that, we're going to go through a couple of updates. A lot happened last night, big night in the NBA. You had Joel Embiid going for 70. That translated to over 100 so rare points. Karl Anthony Towns hitting for career high 62, I believe. Then Durant had a huge game to end the night. We had a trade go down. Terry Rozier got shipped from Charlotte to Miami. What does that mean? Well, Kyle Lowry's out in Miami. He was playing in the mid-20s minutes. Rozier obviously eats those up. I don't know that Lowry plays in Charlotte. He may get shipped somewhere else, or they may just buy him out. We also got news today that Tyrese Halliburton looks like he's going to be out at least 3 more games, which puts them through the Friday of this coming weekend. So for this game week, roll out TJ McConnell again. He's all the way back down to 23. Anyway, let's go through some game week 27 stuff. Get you ready for this weekend. These are the players that I'll be watching heading through the week. Starting in that 0 to 10 range, just not a whole lot of interesting plays right now. Damian Jones in Cleveland has a little bit of interest, but not much for me. He's just so unproductive. 0.6 points per minute. Tristan Thompson just got suspended for 25 games, so it looks like Jones probably gets a little more run until Evan Mobley comes back. Now, I'm not paying up for Damian Jones. He's already about $5. Orlando Robinson's interested in me, so you need Bam Adebayo out with an injury for Robinson to really gain any relevance. All the way down to 5 for an L10, and when this guy starts, he does put up big scores from time to time. This is a good stash play if you can get him for cheap and throw him at the end of your gallery. Might be useful down the road. Omer Yurtseven in Utah, same kind of concept. He played quite a bit when they had a lot of injuries earlier in the season. Now they're healthy. He's not playing. He's all the way down to 5. Another guy that's a skilled big, 0.89 a minute. Another stash. Drew Eubanks had a nice game last night. He's all the way down to 8. So if he can maintain some minutes, if he can kind of get back to that level average for the season, which is right around 16, he becomes really interesting at an 8. 0.86 points a minute, pretty decent. Let's look at some game logs for Eubanks. So here's last night. He played 22 minutes, so more than he normally is going to play. Put up 26 points. That's a pretty nice game for him. That's right in line with some of his best games of the season. He had a nice stretch early in the year where he was in the high 20s a couple times in a row. Recently, not been playing much, been in and out. Started to get his minutes back, then he got sick before the Portland game. He kind of slowly came back. They have a lot of guys who aren't that great in their backup front court rotation in Phoenix. He's just another one of them, but if he's the guy who's going to get in the 15-minute range, I think an 8 is definitely playable for him. Trey Jones suffered what looked like some sort of foot or ankle injury at the end of last night's game. Malachi Branham's the guy who has benefited from Jones being out in the past. His minutes go from about 20 a night to 27. 0.69 a minute, so not productive, but when you bump your minutes up that much, you can beat that 9. So with Jones being out potentially, he becomes an even better play heading into the weekend. As you can see with Branham, he hasn't done much lately. Earlier in the year, scoring in the 20s pretty regularly and the high teens, assuming Jones has to miss some time. Cam Reddish returned from injury, played 21 minutes in his first game back, so just below his season average in the low 20s here. If he gets those low 20s minutes, puts up about 15 points on average with that standard deviation of 11.4, you're looking at anywhere from 4 to 26 on a normal range. I wouldn't be afraid of him at a 10 L10. Guess what? Hey, it's Marcus Sasser time. Talk about him all the time. He's starting to get some minutes, just like we'd hope. He's up to 11, 14.42 for an average score. That's going off 15 minutes a night, 0.95 a minute. 11.2 standard deviation. Let's look at those game logs, shall we? Last 4 games, 11, 12, 15, 26. He finally outplayed Killian Hayes for minutes. 9 out of 17. Hit 5 free throws. 28 points. Hey. I think we're getting somewhere. Monty Williams, you're waking up. Yeah! All right. Figuring it out. 11 this week. I think you can still play him. Obviously, got to monitor his minutes. Monty may just change his mind and put him back on the bench, but he's good. He's obviously capable of high 20s. I think he's capable of 30s, getting more confident with some more minutes. Could see another nice run from him. So at 11, I would definitely have him on your radar. John Conchar in Memphis. I feel like I talk about him a lot too, but he's been so up and down, just jerked around all year. The minutes are crazy with him. We're looking at doesn't play like 20 seconds, 8 minutes, 3 minutes, 25, 6, 20. Last 3 games, 27, 27, 28. Okay, we're getting a little consistency. Well, what can he do when he's got some consistency? 14, 19, 31 last night. If he's going to play 28 minutes, that's up at least 10 minutes over his season average. 0.81 a minute. Bumping this up to at least around 20 on average. And then you've got your standard deviation of about 10. So high-end outcome for him is in the normal range is 30, and a low end is about 10. If your range of outcomes is 10 to 30, and your L10 is 11, that's a guy you can play. He's certainly capable of more, been a better shooter over the past couple seasons than he has been this year. I think with some regular minutes and some routine, maybe he gets some form back. This guy could be in the 30s sometimes. Depends on who else is out there. But Memphis has lots of problems. You think he's going to keep playing, at least for now. And Maxi Kleber in Dallas is back, and I think you can kiss Dwight Powell's relevance goodbye. 11, 19, 21, 26 minutes over the last 4 for Kleber as he ramps up. If we look at his numbers for the season, 0.69 points a minute. He's obviously capable of much more than that. This guy's a really good outside shooter. He shot over 40% for seasons before. L10 of 11s, just too low for him. Game logs right now, we're looking at 7, 16, 18, 13, so he really hasn't broken out yet. There's just not much to go off of. So at 11, I like Sasser, I like Conchar, I like Kleber. And the early returns this week are promising. I mentioned the old 37-year-old Jeff Green going into this weekend. Houston has one of the more favorable weekend schedules, 2 road games, both against easy defenses, one at Charlotte, one at Brooklyn. Green took last game off with calf soreness, but Coach Udoka says he is good to go for Wednesday, which means I think he probably just took a rest day. It was a little disconcerting to see Grant Williams' minutes drop against his former team, the Celtics, last night. Still 26.8 for an average on the season. An unproductive 0.67. He really needs minutes if you're going to play him. Down to 18 last night. Been kind of all over the place, but still averaging about 25. Schedule looks good for Dallas. Going into Atlanta and then having Sacramento at home, 2 of the weaker defensive teams. I think he's definitely in play at 13 this weekend. Still waiting on the shakeup in Brooklyn for Lonnie Walker. 15 he is at right now. It's big standard deviation for him at 11.7. Obviously, when he gets minutes, he's effective. 1.09 points per minute. We're going to watch Brooklyn this week in the hopes that they actually do something with their lineup. He only played 10 minutes last game and he scored 18 points, so that was coming off of a 13-minute 22-point performance. Seems like every time he's out there, he's overproducing. They want to throw Cam Thomas out there because he hits a couple of tough shots in a row and then thinks he can make everything and then costs them the game. Hopefully something changes in Brooklyn and we get a little more out of Lonnie Walker. I'll be back here tomorrow morning to catch you up on any updates and walk you through 16 on up. See you back here tomorrow. Thanks for watching.